There are those of you who love him, there are those of you who hate him, but regardless of how you feel about Rashid, he's back in Street Fighter 6 and bringing the fun and the chaos of the Turbulent Winds with him. Who is this fighter really though? We're taking a look back through the character's history to bring you the full story of Rashid heading into Street Fighter 6. Rashid first appeared only recently in Street Fighter V, where he was actually the game's protagonist. Developers dressed him in squeaky clean white garbs to help contrast him with the appearance of the franchise poster boy, Ryu, who tends to wear a more tattered and dirtied white gi. The Middle Eastern fighter has a very laid-back and easygoing personality, only getting deadly serious in one interaction we've seen him in thus far, and often making lighthearted jokes that take the edge off any situation. He's got a special affinity for modern technology and for the internet, which is why he has that Dragon Ball Z scouter and is almost always on his phone in Street Fighter V. His fighting style is heavily influenced by parkour as he rolls, leaps, and hops about, all while being propelled by the forces of wind. He was originally intended to have a moveset based around a run with 6 follow-ups similar to El Fuerte, but that was ultimately deemed too complex for a main character as Capcom wanted Rashid to be as appealing as possible to a wide player base. Also, his early design saw him as a cyborg, but this idea eventually evolved into his being more of a tech-savvy human. Rashid is constantly joined by his servant Azam, who also serves as his bodyguard and trainer. We know almost nothing about Rashid before Street Fighter V except that he's the eldest son of an aristocratic Middle Eastern family who began traveling the world in search of a missing friend who was kidnapped by Shadaloo. It's during these travels that we first meet Rashid in the SF5 Prologue stories, where Sea Viper tells him to find Ryu to test out his fighting abilities to see if he's truly ready to take on Shadaloo. Rashid finds Ryu and asks him for a friendly fight. Ryu agrees and proceeds to defeat Rashid with a single Shoryuken, because that's how you get fans hyped up for a new protagonist. This pours a bunch of water on the story thus far, as it implies Rashid really isn't ready to take on Shadaloo and find his friend, but the cheery Arab thanks Ryu for the ass whooping and heads off, telling Azam he's still keen on rescuing his buddy. This brings us to the events of A Shadow Falls, Street Fighter V's main storyline. M. Bison is launching a massive attack on the world called Operation Chains that involves a series of Black Moon satellites to beam concentrated psycho power down into major cities, causing chaos to erupt in them. The keys to starting or stopping Operation Chains are made into several chess pieces, which have been secretly sent out to a handful of good guys around the world by one of the Shadaloo programmers who wants to stop Chains from happening. Said programmer is Rashid's aforementioned friend, and sent one of said pieces to Rashid. We first see our windy hero parkouring his way into Shadaloo's base at night. While this is going down, Rashid's programmer friend is just inside the base being pursued by Fong, who has discovered that he's dealing with a double agent. Fong catches and kills the programmer just before Rashid arrives in the area. The two fight and Fong wins, because that's how you get fans hyped up for a new protagonist.
I did it!
Fong then takes the chess piece away from Rashid and leaves him behind. A defeated Rashid leaves and winds up in New York, where he encounters Team Good Guys Cammy, Guile, and Chun-Li, who have 2 chess pieces among them. Chun is barely able to stand, having just gotten beaten up by M. Bison, but Rashid fights her and gets his first win on the board. He then takes her chess piece and flees the scene like a hero. We then zip over to Russia, where Rashid and a handful of other fighters have been summoned by Colleen, who represents the Illuminati. She reveals the plan by the Illuminati to obtain the chess pieces and stop M. Bison. Also, Jury's there, and she beats up Rashid for no reason other than the fact that it's a great way to get fans hyped up for your new protagonist. Colleen sends Rashid to the Kanzuki estate in Japan, where he arrives to confront Karin Kanzuki, who has a chess piece of her own. They fight, and guess who loses? Nope, Rashid does, and he even taps out when Karin puts him into a judo hold. Now, I know what you're thinking. This main good guy of this fighting game kinda sucks at fighting. And you're technically right, but here's the twist. He secretly steals Karin's chess piece while she has him in said judo hold, and that counts as at least half a win. He promises not to use the piece for evil and splits. So Rashid goes back to the Shadaloo base, where he runs into Karin promptly and agrees that they're on the same team and gives her the piece back, making that whole previous bit totally pointless. Karin and Chun-Li use all the pieces now to stop Operation Chains, but plot twist, there's a backup program that causes the satellites to crash into the Earth and explode anyway, so the whole thing with the chess pieces was kinda pointless. Luckily for Team Good Guys, this program was apparently designed by a James Bond villain and has a needless 24-hour delay, giving them a full day to run away and come up with another plan. So, with 24 fleetingly precious hours on the clock, Rashid goes back to Japan to sit on this chair at the Kanzuki estate. When he's done doing that, he goes to Russia, where Colleen reveals that Rashid's programmer friend put yet another safety net in place to stop Operation Chains. You just have to enter a secret password that Rashid has to figure out. So, they all head back to the Shadaloo base for round 12, and Rashid waltzes up to the main machine, enters his name because that, of course, is the password, and the whole world is saved. Fong appears and tells him that it was he who killed Rashid's unnamed friend, and for the first and only time thus far, Rashid gets mad. Like, really mad. He beats the crap out of Fong, but the evil henchman stabs Rashid in the back, tragically poisoning him with a poison that makes him kinda tired for a few minutes. Having stopped the evil plot, Rashid escapes and gets a pre-recorded call from his programmer friend from when she was still alive. He's sad for a moment, then gets happy again and parkours his way into the credits. Alright, so what might Capcom do with this character in Street Fighter 6? As far as theming goes, Rashid seems to represent the new and the modern and the progressive, excitedly jumping into unexplored territory at just about every chance he gets. You might even say he represents the winds of change. We're not so sure as to exactly what capacity developers will be adding in additional story threads as they introduce new DLC characters, but we do know that they'll all be masters in World Tour mode, and we've come up with something that we felt would fit Rashid in the SF6 atmosphere. Here goes. Rashid has just arrived in Metro City after being out traveling the world again, and has also befriended Lily as the two plan to train together and share wind techniques. They're both currently aboard the carrier Byron Taylor, checking out some of the latest flight technology with Guile, who tells Rashid to shut off his livestream equipment as they approach some top secret area. Suddenly, a faint whirring like the sound of a million bees approaching fills the air, and the crew of the Taylor look up to see a massive dark cloud with thousands of drones descending from it in the distance. The Days of the Eclipse prequel comics establish the SF6 backstory, and in them we learn that the hacktivist terrorist group Amnesia, of which JP is the not-so-secret leader, prominently uses drones to do its dirty work, and they're the ones behind this attack here on Metro City. Guile notes that he's seen this kind of thing before, as the Air Force has been developing plenty of anti-drone tech in recent years and knows just what to do. He jumps on a big military computer to activate a program that will remotely take control of and shut down the threat, but when he presses enter, things get worse. The drones Amnesia is using are made of an experimental new technology that not only stops the anti-drone program from working, but can use it to hack into whatever source is trying to stop them. Now Amnesia has control of the Byron Taylor's computers and renders it and all of its aircraft useless. Guile is left without an answer as the threat draws ever closer, but Rashid realizes that he's seen this technology before in some black market type areas on his travels. He's studied it a little bit and explains that these new drones are basically impervious to all established tech and must be physically destroyed. While there's no time or way to get to all of them, they can be stopped if the Queen Bee drone, which is likely hidden away up in the cloud, is destroyed. With the drones now passing over the Taylor, Rashid and Lily combine their wind powers to summon a massive gust that lifts them up into the fray where they start riding on and smashing drones left and right. Lily directs the gust to blow away part of the dark cloud, revealing the Queen Bee drone. Rashid parkours his way from drone to drone up to the Queen Bee, which he kicks down toward Lily, who ultimately smashes it into a million pieces with one of her clubs, ending the threat and saving the day. Back on the now fully functioning Byron Taylor, Rashid live streams as everyone cheers on the heroes of the day. Guile appears and points out that there are now thousands of drones in the ocean that need to be cleaned up, but Rashid makes a corny joke about Guile being old and we end on a feel-good pan-out crane shot. Well, that's our quick idea for a fun Rashid insert into SF6's story, but we'd love to hear yours in the comments below. Please share how excited or not excited you might be for Rashid to join the game, and if you want to see more character stories like this one, we have an entire playlist of videos just waiting for you. I've been John Velociraptor Guerrero for EventHubs. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.